Imagine what it's like to not fully hear the world around you. Well, today we are being asked to take a pledge for 1 day without sound. And joining me now is Tammy Wright to talk more about that. She is a hearing loss expert. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So tell me how this day originated.
The 1 day without sound is put together by the Miracle Ear Foundation in order to get people to understand hearing loss for a person who deals with it every day, and for you to encourage you to take better care of your own hearing so you don't get into that spot if it's something that's preventable.
And you've been creating this awareness for a couple of years now.
This is our third year.
And you're encouraging people to take the pledge, which means what?
They're going to take the pledge. They can go to onedayWithoutSound.org, or they can come by any of our Miracle Ear stores in order to get a set of earplugs, or they could wear their own, or a set of headphones in order to dampen the sound around them so that they can get a better understanding of what it's like to not be able to hear everything that's happening around you, and get a better understanding of what the person next to is dealing with who has a hearing challenge, as well as like, oh my gosh, I better do something about protecting my own hearing.
Well, it's also to encourage us to take better care.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
To see a professional on a regular basis.
Absolutely.
So tell me, what are the symptoms of hearing loss? And by the way, we should also talk about the fact that this doesn't just affect older people, but it affects people as young as, how young were you saying you see patients?
I've seen children in their teens, but there are, babies who have hearing loss. And so in the U.S., there are over 48 million people who have hearing loss to some degree. And about 50% of those are under the age of 65.
So really it's important for us to create awareness and to take care of our ears and our hearing. What do you say to people as far as looking for symptoms? So, like I was talking about the fact that my daughter had wax buildup, and you can't decipher between, is this actual hearing loss or what's happening?
The key is to get it checked. If you have any questions whether or not you're having some loss, it may be simple as your daughter was wax. Some people will start experiencing difficulty in following in conversations. They'll start to withdraw. Sometimes you'll just see, older people in your family will just start withdrawing and not participating, mostly because they can't understand everything that's going on. It's very frustrating and unnerving for them. But they think people are mumbling. And although there are some mumblers out there, generally people don't mumble, and it's just that they're not hearing all the parts of the speech in different frequencies in order for speech to make sense. So there's, those are some of the very early warning signs of people not able to keep up with conversation.
So how do you go about treating it?
Well, the key first is to be evaluated.
Right.
So what is your challenge? What are the problems that you're having? Is it wax? Is it something medical?
And it's a simple test.
So it is. It's a very simple test. It takes about 45 minutes. You can come in, schedule a test at any of our Miracle Ear stores or any hearing care professional. And generally the hearing test is free. So you know where you're at. It takes about 45 minutes. And so we do sound testing as well as speech testing so that we can get an overall picture of your hearing health.
Well, and I thought it was interesting when I went in for mine that they asked me to bring somebody who I live with and used to hearing.
Very important.
Why is that so important?
It's very important. I have a very distinct voice, so when I'm testing somebody, you can hear me, even with some hearing loss. So that doesn't count. You don't live with B. How can you hear your husband? Can you hear your daughter? Can you hear your friends? And so we want you to be able to have someone that you're used to hearing so that you can see how you're not hearing them, and with hearing amplification through hearing aids and instruments, that you are able to hear them better.
Sure.
And so that you're like, oh my gosh, I have been missing that. And you hate to make people cry, but that moment when someone's like, oh my gosh,
it's
I
emotional.
can hear my wife, they just, they're crying, and the opposite, like, oh, Tammy made them cry again.
Well, Tammy, we appreciate you being here and not making us cry, but educating us. Real quickly, where can people go to take the pledge?
Go to onedayWithoutSound.org, or they can come through any of our Miracle Ear stores throughout Arizona and get a pair of earplugs.
Right.
And for them to be able to experience what it's like for that person who doesn't have hearing loss and to take better care of their own hearing.
Absolutely, very important. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for letting us come in.